You know, Wisconsin is a prize catch if you want to win an election here, but boy, the devil is in the details and the slight movement you see in votes. That contest over the last couple of presidential elections has been decided by fewer than 20,000 votes. Doesn't Scott Walker know it? They dragged him back in recounts and everything else and midterm elections. He survived it all, and he has lived through it all. So he knows what goes on there and what we could be possibly looking at this go-around. Governor, it's always great to have you, an honor to have you. What is the climate there now? I look at polls in your fine state, and they look kind of like they did 4 years ago and the 4 years before that, dead even.
Yeah, they're absolutely tight. I mean, this is going to be a razor-thin election. It's why in a period of 8 days, Donald Trump was here 3 times. You just had Vice President Harris in 3 different cities on Thursday. You've got J.D. Vance back on Sunday. You've got Obama, Waltz back next week. It is incredibly tight, and it's going to boil down to turnout. You know, the map, much like the country, the map boils down to different parts here, and it really depends on which part turns out the most for the winning candidate.
You know, it had to be a very tough state to govern through that because almost as soon as you got in, they wanted to recall you. You survived that. And I remember being with you in that whole period, just the volatility of it. But you often hear that the state is so divided, so even, that it's very tough to govern these days. There alone, forget about winning it and getting the state's electoral votes. Is it? Because I see a lot of close states and dealing with this sort of thing, they move on, but that it paralyzes officials on both sides.
Yeah, it's not just tight politically. You're right. You've got, like most battleground states, you've got a couple of Milwaukee and Madison, 2 very big urban areas that are very Democrat, but very different. Milwaukee's a traditional blue-collar area. Donald Trump's actually doing reasonably well, upping the numbers with Black and Hispanic voters. Flip side, Madison's a very, very liberal area, almost like Berkeley out in California. That area has gone increasingly liberal. That's an area that actually thought Hillary Clinton was not liberal enough and still has Bernie Sanders signs up. You've got the suburbs that were once reliably Republican, but now are less so. You've got other parts of the state that have become more Republican, particularly more pro-Trump. I'd say in the end, the thing to watch is the area I did well in when I won 3 times, and that is mid-sized industrial cities. It's really a matter of making the case to them. Right now, the money is on the side of Harris and her campaign because they've got bodies all over the state. What's keeping it even is the issues are on Donald Trump's side. Prices, prices, prices. People are upset about that. They're upset about fentanyl coming into the state because of the border crisis, and they're upset because of the public safety issues. Those are the things making it tight in Wisconsin.
I also wonder as well whether we could have the flip of what we had 4 years ago, Governor, where Donald Trump leads in the popular vote nationally, maybe scores the popular vote, loses in the electoral vote. What do you think of that?
Well, it certainly is possible. I mean, you see the numbers running up, although I think there's a reason why, and we're only talking about Wisconsin, former President Trump is going to be in Pennsylvania this week. I think if the map works out the way we thought it would prior to the 2020 election, which is Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, go with President Trump. Then the key is Harris has to run the trifecta. She has to win the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the states of Michigan and Wisconsin. I think right now Donald Trump's got a compelling case to make in each of those 3. That's why I think between now and November 5th, you're going to see him, Vance, and their surrogates here over and over again, as you will for the other side.
You know, Governor, we hear this talk that Donald Trump is going to be using Nikki Haley on the campaign stump. Now, she has, already expressed her support for him, but she hasn't been used on the stump, to my knowledge. Now she will be. What do you think of that?
I think it's brilliant. I think it's couldn't come soon enough. I think there's a lot of, particularly in the suburbs, a lot of voters who would appreciate not only Nikki Haley, but I think people like Mike Pompeo. There's other people that are respected that have said they'd be willing and honored to serve as a part of Donald Trump's second administration. I think that's one of his strengths. And people, I always say, set aside what you don't like about his tone or his post in social media and just realize the truth, no matter who you are, that life was better in Wisconsin across the country when Donald Trump was president. And a key part of that was not just him, it was the people he surrounded himself with. And I think if people saw people like Nikki Haley, like Mike Pompeo, like other trusted experts out there that I think will continue to fulfill the things he's talking about. It's not about changing what he wants to do, but just letting people know he's going to have some steady hands along with him and would go a long way, particularly in places like the suburbs in Wisconsin, in Michigan, and in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's all about changing a few minds, so that those relatively few were still undecided. I can't imagine at this stage still being undecided, but it is what it is. Governor, great talking to you again. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Neil. Good to be with you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.